Hi, I'm Todd Fletcher. Welcome to Behind the Scenes, a series that informs you of what's happening in the local motion picture and television industry. Southern Alberta revels in a rich range of spectacular, diverse scenery. Whether the backdrop is a bustling downtown street, barren badlands, or a mountain vista, this region is picture perfect. In this episode of Behind the Scenes, we learned some of the logistics of shooting on location in Calgary's motion picture and TV jurisdiction. And to get us started, we check in with Luke Azevedo, Commissioner of Film, Television, and Creative Industries at Calgary Economic Development.
Over the past 20 years, we've seen the majority of the filming that happens in and around Calgary on the peripheral of the city, which really doesn't affect the day-to-day operations, nor does it affect the majority of the people that live in Calgary. However, over the last couple of years, what we've seen is a fairly significant shift where Calgary is starting to be utilized much more so as Calgary, and the peripherals as Alberta. This really does highlight something that we need to really pay a lot of attention to, which is to create that film-friendly environment and to have a working environment here that allows us to create the logistics and locations component of the film activity, which is very core, and to have it be a situation where it makes it as easy as possible to come into our area and film.
Lisa Craig is the Logistics Coordinator for Film, Television, and Creative Industries at Calgary Economic Development, and she offers one-window access for any permits or approvals required for film and TV production in our city.
When we lock down a film or television production, I work closely with the location manager working on the show to coordinate any logistics they might require from the City of Calgary. I work with the various business units, such as fire, police, EMS, parks and recreation, and traffic engineering. A typical permit request that I would facilitate would be a road closure, parking for production vehicles, permission to film in a park or on city property. We're seeing an increasing number of projects using Calgary as Calgary, which is really boosting the amount of locations utilized in the downtown core. We helped facilitate the permits and logistics for the second season of Heartland. We also coordinated the logistics for the TV miniseries Burn Up, which utilized over 70 locations within the downtown core. Calgary is a city of over 1 million people. We're very active day and night. This is why it's increasingly important for us to work with the city to create that film-friendly environment.
When it comes to shooting on location, motion picture and TV producers from around the world rely on Alberta Film's Marla Tao to point them in the right direction.
When we've actually engaged a scout or a producer has asked for a scout or a location package to put together, we can do one of two things. They can come down here and actually do a physical scout with one of our location managers, or we can actually send a scout out to get pictures of something that would fit directly with their film rather than just a generic picture. We can also send out an electronic photo package, which will give them a visual representation of our beautiful vistas here in Alberta. Our Alberta Film website is a great resource tool for local producers and foreign producers alike. You can access the website and it's 15,000 pictures straight from your computer no matter where you are. We have photos from houses to landscapes to mountain scenery. It doesn't matter what you're looking for, we can create it. These photos are put together in one package so that the producer gets the feeling that his film, as he looks at these pictures, can definitely be shot here.
Within an hour's drive of downtown Calgary, you'll find the CL Western Studio in Backlot. Nestled within a 15,000-acre working cattle ranch in the heart of the Alberta foothills, it has played host for many motion picture and TV productions. It is there where we spoke with Michelle Copithorne, manager of the CL Western Studio in Backlot.
Basically, we were approached by the producers and director and art director of Lonesome Dove. They knew that they wanted to film in the Calgary area, and in particular on the west side of the Calgary. And so they hired a helicopter and actually did flight surveys of the entire area, and they kind of settled on this location that we're standing on, and literally looked on a map, saw who owned it, and came knocking on our door. So that was the first contact that we had with the film industry, in particular in relation to this town site. So they had this proposal to build it, and here we are today.
What do you say? Now, who is willing to prove that they're not going to stand for this kind of thing in Curtis Wells?
Well, the most famous movie that we've had out here is Shanghai Noon, and the sequel Shanghai Nights, and that starred Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson and Lucy Liu.
My name's John Wayne.
John Wayne?
John Wayne.
That's a terrible cowboy name.
Most of the filming that we've had out here, though, has been movie for television, and they've been, we've probably had dozens of them. Into the West was a 6-part miniseries that was produced by Steven Spielberg, and they actually shot the first 3 here in the town site and also in surrounding areas and our secondary sites, utilizing a lot of our, we've got some cabin locations and creek and whatnot, and they utilize most of our property for those 3.
Morning.
They also established some Indian encampments, and because part of the storyline was the joining of these 2 cultures, really. In particular, the one feature family was the Wheeler family, and they set up their wheelwright in the livery stable here in the town. And yeah, so it was a huge production and really successful. It was fun to work with.
Now that is a thing of beauty.
I was very happy to have the Germans come in and do theirs. They did a mini-series called In the Valley of the Wild Roses, and they actually featured this town as Alberta, and they were German settlers coming to Alberta and setting up their homes and building their town, and that was a really neat experience, because majority of the time we are usually playing Wyoming or Colorado or even New Mexico, the Ozarks. We've been all over, mainly the States, but so this was the first one that really featured Alberta as Alberta and featured our mountains as our mountains, and that was a really neat experience. A lot of the buildings have been custom built for each show. Majority of the ones that you're seeing on this street and the other streets were actually originally built for Lonesome Dove. There's been a few that have been built and inserted since then for different productions. And all the buildings are actually built on stilts, basically, that you could actually get underneath them, lift them up, and rotate them or move them across town or what have you, just so that you always can get a fresh look in the town. It's not always the same look, which is really beneficial to a lot of producers because they don't want the same look for every show that comes through here. Here they've got creative license. They can go into any building, move it, rotate it, knock out a wall, put in a window. As long as they're not affecting the structural integrity of the building, they have creative license. They can do whatever they need to do to create the look that they want to get.
The CL studio has the rustic look of an 1880s town site, but an underground electrical system supplies power to numerous hydrants strategically concealed by the Western architecture. To learn more about CL Western Studio and Backlot, visit their website at clwesterntown.com. The Ad Rodeo event was held in late April and featured the best of Calgary's advertising, design, and interactive media industry. Among the 32 categories that included print, radio, and television, the Anvil Award for Best Television Commercial with a budget over $50,000 was presented to Venture Communications for this spectacular slow-motion spot.
People take a lot of different paths to get to the zone, but many of those paths have the same starting point.
In the category for Best Television Series, the Anvil was awarded to Wax Communications for their Calgary International Film Festival campaign.
Il a informé qu'il a vu un corps d'un individu sans savoir qui est-ce. On l'a trouvé qu'il était couché comme ça, sur le dos.
Congratulations to all award recipients. Still on the subject of awards, the Alberta Motion Picture Industry Association celebrated the 35th annual AMPI Awards earlier this month. You can visit AMPIA's website for the complete list of award recipients. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of Behind the Scenes. Thanks for watching.
Behind the Scenes is a collaboration between Calgary Economic Development, industry, government, and community stakeholders.